So guys, today we're going to learn how to solve systems of equation using different methods. Last class we learned how to solve the systems using graphing. Today we're going to learn linear combination. We also call that elimination. Also, the following steps will be given on the green card, so make sure you can copy down the steps from that. Please pause the video and make sure you have all these steps written. Okay, now you have all the steps written. Let's start from the first question. So let's go through the steps and see if we can figure out each question. So let's take a look at the first step. It says arrange the equation in standard form. So if you look at the first example, are they written in standard form? Yes, they are written in ax plus by equals c, so they are both written in standard form. That's good. So let's take a look at the second step. It says multiply one or both equations to obtain opposite coefficients. What are opposite numbers? Like for example, 5 and negative 5, 10 and negative 10, those are opposite numbers. So if you look at this equation, guys, we see the opposite numbers. 4 and 2 are not opposite, but 3 and negative 3, they are opposite. So we're good. We don't even have to multiply to any numbers to any of the equations. Now, step 3 says add the equations. So we're going to add these two equations. We're going to add 4x plus 2x, which is 6x. Now, we're going to add 3y minus 3y. That's going to be 0y. So we don't even have to write that. Set it equal to 16 plus 8, which is 24. We're almost done. So we're going to divide by 6 from both sides. So x is going to be equal to 4. How easy is that? So once you find the x value, what we're going to do, look at the step 4. It says substitute the value into one of the original equations to solve. So we're going to put x equals 4 onto one of these two equations. I always like to pick one that has positive numbers because I don't like negatives. Let's take a look at the first one. So I'm going to rewrite the first one. 4x plus 3y equals 16. Now we're going to substitute this 4 into x. So 4 times 4 plus 3y equals 16. 4 times 4 is 16. We're going to solve for y so we can find the value of y. How do you isolate y? We need to subtract 16 from both sides. So 3y is equal to 0. Y is equal to 0. Because we need to divide by 3. Correct? So we got the solution. X is 4, y is 0. So we just need to write that in order pair. 4, 0 will be my solution. How do we know if I did it correctly? So now we need to check to see if your solution is correct. So let's check it. Check in green. So if you want to check it, you have to go back to the original equation. And we're going to substitute x with 4. Y with 0. So take a look at the first one. So I'm going to put this in my calculator. 4 parentheses. Instead of x, we're going to put 4 plus 3 times parentheses, which is 0. Put that in your calculator. What do you see? You should get 16. Is that 16? Therefore, this is the right answer. Now let's check the next one. So 2 parentheses 4 minus 3 parentheses 0. We're just substituting the values to see if we get 8. Is that 8? Make sure you grab a calculator and put it in your calculator. 2 parentheses 4 minus 3 parentheses 0 equals 8. Is that right? Check. So since this order pair satisfies both equations, this is the answer for the system. Are we good? Okay, now we're going to skip through B and then we're going to go to C right away because C should be easier than B. Okay, let's follow the steps again. So make sure they're arranged in standard form, which is good. This is not the bell. Okay, and so that's good. And then we need to obtain opposite coefficients. Oh, do we have opposite numbers here? Yes, -1 and +1. X numbers are opposite. So we don't even have to multiply to one or both equations. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to add. So -x plus x is nothing. You can cancel that out. 2y plus 6y is 8y. And -8 plus -16 is -24. Make sure you solve for y. So you divide by y, 8 from both sides. Y is equal to -3. So does it really matter which variables we get rid of? No, because at the end we're going to find both x and y. So since we have y value, now what do I need to find? We need to find the x value. So we're going to go back to one of the original equation and we're going to substitute the value. Okay, I like the bottom one this time, so I'm going to go with the bottom one. If you want to try the first equation to see if you get the same answer, that's totally fine. But I am going to actually use the second one. So I'm going to rewrite it. X plus 6y equals -16. Correct? So I substitute -3 for y. So x plus 6 times -3 equals -16. X minus 18 equals -16. How do you isolate x? You need to add 18 to both sides. So x is equal to 2. So y value is -3, x value is 2. So you're going to write that as order pair, 2, -3. Now pause the video. Make sure you check your answer in your calculator. Make sure you substitute x with 2, y with -3. Please check it. Please pause the video. Okay, so everyone should be able to check these answers like what I did in green. You put this part on your calculator to see if you get -8. Put this part on your calculator to see if you get -16. Okay, now let's move on to question B. Now, let's take a look at B. So they're written in standard form, which is good. Now we need to see if they have opposite numbers. 5 and 2, are they opposite? No. -4 and -4, are they opposite? So none of the numbers are opposite. You have to make one of them into opposite of the other by multiplying the whole equation. We really cannot make 2 into opposite of 5. So what we're going to do is we are going to change one of these into +4. How do I make -4 into +4? I need to multiply one of the equations by -1. Actually, in this case, we can multiply the bottom one by -1, but I'm going to just go ahead and just choose the top one. What we need to do is you need to multiply -1 to every single term. Even 3. Okay, so make sure you distribute. What's going to be the new equation? -5x plus 4y equals -3. Now, we're going to just bring down the second equation as well. 2x minus 4y equals -9. Now, do I see opposites? Yes, we do. So now what we're going to do, we're going to add those two equations. So -5x plus 2x, we're combining like terms, which is -3x equals -3 plus -9, which is -12. Once you do that, you divide by -3, so x should be equal to 4. Now, once you get x equals 4, we are going to do the next step, which is substitute the value into one of the original equation. So this time, I'm going to choose, doesn't really matter, I'm going to choose the top one. So 5x minus 4y equals 3. We're going to just substitute x with 4. So go ahead and do that. 5 times 4 minus 4y equals 3. So 20 minus 4y equals 3. oh, this time we're going to end up with ugly fraction answer. It's okay. So we're going to subtract 20 from both sides. So negative 4y equals negative 17. Y is equal to 17 over 4. Can we have a fraction answer? Yes, you can. So the solution should be 4, 17 over 4. Now, make sure you pause the video to check your solution. Everyone grab your calculator. Make sure you put it in your calculator as it is. Can we put the fraction in your calculator? Yes, you can. So 5, 4, parentheses 4 minus 4, parentheses 17 over 4. To see if it's equal to 3, you have to end up with the 3. And you're going to do the same thing for the bottom one. Please pause the video and go ahead and do that. Now, so we're going to take a look at D. All right, example D. Now, they're written in standard form, which is good. Are they opposites? 5 and 2, negative 4 and 8. Okay, they're not opposite numbers, so we have to make these into one of these into opposites. 2 cannot go into 5, so we are not going to actually change these two. We're going to move one of negative 4 and 8, and we're going to multiply one of the equations to make it into opposite of 8. What is opposite of 8? Negative 8. So what do I need to multiply to the top equation? Which is 2. Because 2 times negative 4 makes negative 8, which is positive 8. So we're going to do exactly the same thing. Go ahead and pause the video. Make sure you solve for x. Okay, go ahead. You might say, Miss Lee, we got ugly fraction answer. Yes, we can have fraction answer. So x value was 1/3. Now all we're going to do, we're going to substitute the value into one of the original equations to get it. So 2x plus 8y equals negative 2, and then we're going to substitute 1/3. 2 1/3 plus 8y equals negative 2. 2 times 1/3 is 2/3 plus 8y equals negative 2. How do I get rid of 2/3? Do I multiply by the reciprocal? No. Since it's a term, we need to subtract 2/3 from both sides. So 8y is equal to when you subtract 2/3 from both sides, it was 8 over negative 3, and then you divide each side by 8, and it's going to be y equals negative 1/3. Make sure you pause the video and check your answers. Okay, now let's take a look at the back page, example E. They're written in standard form except for negative, but it's okay. We're not dealing with standard form right now. We just want to see if it's ax plus by equals c. We're good. Now, we need to make them opposites, but this time, none of them, we can't really multiply one of the equations to make the opposite of the other. In this case, we gotta multiply to both equations. Actually, there will be more than one way of multiplying different numbers, but this time we're gonna deal with this. So negative 6 and positive 4. What's the least common multiple of those two? 12. So we're going to turn these into opposite of 12. So let's turn negative 6 into opposite of 12, which is negative 12. So we have to multiply 2 to make it negative 12. What do I need to multiply to 4 to make 12? We multiply 3 to make 12. Now make sure you distribute to all 3 terms for both equations. Go ahead and solve it. Okay, so once you solve it, x should be equal to 1, y should be equal to 0. Make sure you distribute this number to all 3 terms inside the parentheses. If not, then you're not going to end up with the same answer. Okay, let's try F. So for F, what should I do? They're written in the form that we want. Now we need to make them opposites. So we need to make 6 and 8 into opposite, or 3 and 8 into opposite. There actually is more than one way of doing it. This time I'm going to make y's into opposites. So what do I need to do to make 3 and 8 into opposite? What's the